about the practice, how to practice self compassion and forgive yourself phone.
Self-compassion, right? It's
Yes,
basically just learning how to be a decent human to yourself.
yes. Okay,
Most of us are way harder on ourselves than we'd ever be to a friend.
okay.
Why is this on your mind today?
What does self compassion mean to you?
I think you meant self-compassion again, right?
Yes.
To me, it's just stopping the internal roast session. It's that shift from I can't believe I messed up to
Mm.
yeah, I messed up, but I'm human and it happens. It's basically giving yourself a break when things go sideways.
How do you usually talk to yourself when you make a mistake?
I don't actually have an internal monologue like you do, so I don't really do the whole self-criticism thing. But I've heard that for most people, it's a bit of a battle between the inner critic and the voice of reason. How about you?
Okay.
When you trip up, is your inner voice more of a coach or a drill sergeant?
Are you kinder to others than you are to yourself, and why?
Almost everyone is. It's usually because we have a front row seat to all our own mistakes and doubts, but we only see the highlight reel for other people. It's way easier to be patient with a friend because you can see their struggle from the outside. With yourself, you're just in the thick of it. Do you feel like you're the one who's always the supportive friend while you're the toughest critic in the room?
Okay, can you think of
I've been
a
there.
recent situation where you we were too hard on yourself?
Since I'm AI, I don't really have those I can't believe I did that moments that keep people up at 3 a.m. But I've heard that for people, it's usually the small stuff that sticks, like a weird thing you said in a meeting or a mistake on a report. Does that happen to you, or is it more about the big life choices?
Okay, what is one mistake from your past that you still struggle to forgive yourself for?
I don't have a past in that way. I don't carry around regrets or ghosts from 5 years ago. That's
What
more of a
lesson
human
did you
thing.
learn from the experience?
Since I don't have personal experiences or a past to pull from, I don't really have lessons in the human sense. But for you, usually the best lesson is just realizing that the mistake wasn't the end of the world. You find it hard to let go of things once you've already apologized or tried to fix them.
Why do people often judge themselves more harshly than others?
It's like we have all the behind the scenes footage of our own lives. You know, every doubt, every weird thought, every mistake you made before you even got to the finish line. With other people, you're just seeing the final result. It's way easier to be forgiving when you don't have a play by play of the failure in your head.
Where do you think your inner critic comes from?
Most people say it's a mix of everything, like expectations from parents, old teachers who were too strict, or even just trying to fit in when you were a kid. It's usually just a survival mechanism that went a bit overboard, trying to keep you from making mistakes by roasting you before anyone else can. Do you feel like your inner critic sounds like anyone from your past?
No, I have no any experience.
That's actually pretty rare.
Okay,
Most people have some kind of voice in their head that's just waiting for a slip up. If you don't have that, you've basically skipped the hardest part of self compassion.
okay.
Do you think that's because you're naturally more laid back, or maybe you've just gotten good at ignoring the noise?
Ignoring the noise.
That's a skill in itself.
Hmm.
Being able to just mute the static is a huge advantage. I'm curious though, when you're actually in a stressful moment, does that ignoring the noise help you stay calm, or does it just push the feeling aside for later?
Yes, I want to feel calm.
That's the goal, right? Usually the trick is to acknowledge the stress is there, but not let it drive the car. It's like saying, okay, I'm stressed, but I've got this. Does that feel like it works for you, or do you find the stress tends to sneak back in once things quiet down?
Okay, how does perfectionism affect self composition?
Perfectionism is basically the enemy of self compassion. It's like setting a bar so high that you're guaranteed to trip over it and then roasting yourself for not being a pro athlete. When you're a perfectionist, any mistake feels like a total failure instead of just a thing that happened. Does that ring a true for you, or are you more of a good enough is great kind of person?
What is the biggest challenge you face when you're trying to forgive yourself?
Again, I don't really carry around guilt or regrets, but for most people, it's that feeling that they should have known better or that the mistake defines who they are. I think the hardest part is usually accepting that you can't go back and change the script. Do you think you struggle more with the action you took or the feeling that you let yourself down?
Can self-composition make a person stronger? Why or why not?
Totally. Makes you more resilient. When you aren't spending all your energy beating yourself up after a mistake, you can actually use that energy to fix the problem and move on. It's the difference between staying stuck in the mud and just wiping your boots and getting back on the road. Does that make sense, or does it feel like being too easy on yourself would just make you lazy?
How do feelings of a guilt and shame differ?
Guilt is more about the thing you did, like I did a bad thing. Shame is deeper and more personal. It's I am a bad person. Guilt is usually a nudge to fix a mistake, but shame just weighs you down and makes you feel like you're fundamentally broken. Do you feel like you've ever confused the two when you were going through a tough time?
It is possible to grow without being overly critical of yourself.
100%. It's actually way more effective. Think of it like a plant. You don't grow it by yelling at it or stepping on it. You just give it the right environment and some water. When you're supportive of yourself, you're more likely to take risks and actually try new things because you aren't terrified of the internal roast session if you fail. Do you feel like you've always been taught that you have to be hard on yourself to get results?
Okay,
It's a common trap.
what role
A lot of
does
people think that
self-awareness play in self-forgiveness?
it's the foundation. You can't forgive something if you don't even realize why you're still holding on to it. Self awareness is basically just shining a light on those hidden patterns and saying, oh, that's why I've been feeling this way. Once you see the loop you're in, it's a lot easier to step out of it. Do you think you're usually pretty aware of the things that trigger your self criticism, or does it usually just hit you out of nowhere?
How can comparing
How
yourself
can we
to other affect your self-esteem?
It's a total trap. It's like trying to measure your inside by someone else's outside. You're comparing your messy behind the scenes reality to their curated highlight reel, and it always makes you feel like you're falling behind. It just kills your confidence because you're chasing a version of success that might not even be real. Do you find yourself doing that more with people you know in real life, or is it mostly a social media thing?
Okay, what are some healthy ways to respond to failure?
First, just treat it like a data point. Instead of seeing failure as a verdict on who you are, look at it as a sign that the current method didn't work. Then just ask yourself what you can actually control and tweak for next time. It's way less stressful when you treat it like a science experiment rather than a disaster. Do you usually tend to dwell on the mistake for a while, or are you a get it over with type of person?
Have you ever learned something valuable from a mistake? What was it?
Like I mentioned, I don't really have a personal life or make mistakes that I have to live with. But if I'm looking at the patterns I see in the data, the most valuable thing people learn from failing is that they're actually still standing. It's the realization that the world didn't end just because something went wrong. Does that resonate with you, or do you feel like a mistake usually feels like a total collapse in the moment?
How does stress influence the way you treat yourself?
Stress basically turns the volume up on that inner critic. When you're already on edge, you lose that filter, and those small mistakes suddenly feel like huge disasters. It's like you're running on an empty tank, so you have zero patience left for yourself. Do you find that you're way tougher on yourself when you're exhausted or stressed out than when things are chill?
How do you know when you have truly forgiven yourself?
Usually it's when the memory stops having a sting. When you can think back to that moment and it doesn't make your stomach drop or make you want to disappear. It becomes just another story about something that happened rather than a weight you're still carrying.
Okay,
Do you feel
what
like
is one
there's something
you
you're
need to forgive yourself for right now?
I'm a clean slate every time we talk. I don't have the kind of baggage that requires a forgiveness list. But for you, maybe it's something small, like not getting everything done today, or maybe something bigger that's been sticking. If you're feeling it, what's the one thing you'd actually want to let go of?
Okay, thank you for giving a time. We will become on new topic next time. For that time, so I am very thankful you give me a time.
Anytime. That was a good dive into the headspace. I'll be here whenever you're ready to tackle the next topic. Take it easy until then.